I'm Floyd Hewen. I was one of the leaders in the third world strike, January of '69. I sat on the Central Committee throughout the strike, representing the Asian American Political Alliance. Our grouping went on strike, supporting the other groups, and stayed together throughout the strike. And then our main immediate project here on campus was to get the Asian American Studies program going. So I was the first coordinator. Today is the first of 4 days commemorating the third world strike. Today there'll be a panel including some veteran strikers and others from the library and from the department talking about what's going on with the department right now. Our main interest, of course, is to assess to what extent the mission of Third World College was carried out.
My name is Marcelo Garza Montalvo. I'm a PhD candidate in ethnic studies. I've been here, got all of my higher education from the Department of Ethnic Studies in Berkeley. As a graduate student researcher, I work for the Center for Race and Gender, which is one of the many partners that has come together to do the commemoration. And we have a research initiative that's called the Third World Liberation Front Research Initiative. And so we're trying to really use the resources to organize us. We're having these series of events and trying to really bring everybody together to commemorate and to organize. And we're also going to be launching twlf.berkeley.edu as what we're calling the TWLF portal. It's going to be an online way for us to really centralize all this knowledge that's archived and a lot of different interviews and oral histories we've been collecting. And so that's the part of the research that we're trying to really capture from the year, from the work, so that it doesn't just go away again and we have to do it every year, but really trying to keep this institutional memory, and so that students that are coming in can really just plug in and educate ourselves about this history. I hope that people are inspired, are connecting, are building relationships, are getting to know each other across generations, across communities that we might not always cross paths. We might be really involved in our communities, but this is an opportunity to really meet each other and hear each other, what we're all working on, and listen to each other. And that's really the heart of the Third World Liberation Front, is that solidarity. I think one of my hopes is that it be a flashpoint for us to actually organize around what's the current state. I hope that it be a way that we can be inspired to continue to create and sustain these kinds of spaces that historically were made like this, but they're still very, very relevant. A lot of these things, including, of course, the Third World College, continues to be an unmet demand, right? That was agreed upon by the university, and we're operating without the actual compromises that were made between the university and the original Third World Liberation Front. Those remain an open, ongoing struggle. So this gathering I hope that we are able to really hear from each other about what are things that what could we demand together now? What can we work together to create now, based on where we're at in 2019? We're calling this the idea of planting seeds of resistance that become flowers of liberation, understanding that the elders here and ancestors that are no longer with us planted those seeds, and it's up to us to continue to water and to continue to care for those.
50 years ago, we fought for what we considered our basic right, to see ourselves reflected in the curriculum and in those who taught us. I think that the continued lessons from the legacy of the Third World Liberation Front is that at every moment, at every turn, you must be willing to stand up and fight for what you believe in. Our goal at Cal should be full representation of all groups at a level of parity to their population. Ethnic Studies, Third World College should be a vital and core component of the university's curriculum, and faculty should work in conjunction with the curriculum and the training of high school ethnic studies teachers.
This late afternoon, I actually walked through the exhibit. I read all of the statements that were produced at the time of this explosive moment. And the flyer that caught my eye states, "What do you people want?" The question has an echo. That is, there is no point in the history of the United States when white supremacists have not posed this question to people of color. all we want is to be treated as valued human beings.
As I was going through the archival material, something that really stuck with me was that as we move through this space, Robin D.G. Kelly once said, "You are looking for love from an institution that will never love you." And as a student of color here on campus, I think that that is far too often what I find in the spaces that I go into. And I love and have so much love for the Ethnic Studies Department. It is the place of my political birth. It is where I started to find my community, where I started to find my politics, and it just breaks my heart to see the state that it is in.
The first thing that did strike my mind with all the great, hard, amazing work that all of you people put into it is, why the hell is it so small? Why the hell is it just out there, and why did it take 15 years to have an exhibit? We should have our own college by now. It wasn't too early 50 years ago. It's way too far late now, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't still have it. What would Third World College look like? What would it look like with just people like us governing it? You, right here, right now.